Today's episode of the Nofuncity podcast is brought to you by Romp Supply. Check them out at rompsupply.com and be sure to hit subscribe for your chance to win an awesome prize pack. Welcome to the Nofuncity podcast, episode 11. 11 episodes in, and we've got a special announcement because we are officially on all your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify, Google, Apple, you name it. We're probably on it, so go check us out. And if we're not on the platform that you use for podcasts, you're probably not using the right platform. That's all I got to say about that. Hosted on Anchor FM, so thank you to Anchor. Also, we just gave away some shred lights, so congratulations to the winner of that. That was on my personal YouTube channel, so if you want a chance to win stuff, all you have to do is subscribe to that. Today, we're joined by two very special guests, as always. Jay and Adam, both are DJs, Our House Radio, right here in Vancouver. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us. How's it going?
Word, good to see you. And Jay, actually know from back in the day.
That's right, from back in the day, from back in high school.
Back in high school. And you are the third person from high school that has been a guest on the podcast. Nice. Yeah, lucky number 3.
Nice.
Yeah. So, okay. Our House Radio show, DJs, let's get into it. You guys clearly, obviously know each other, but did you know each other before this Our House Radio show started, or?
Yeah, we did, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a couple of years in the making, really, wasn't it? The radio show from after we met.
Yeah, we had mutual friends, I guess, from when we first met. We only met, how long ago? 5 years?
5 years?
5, 6 years ago?
Yeah. Okay, so that's quite some time.
Yeah, I guess it feels like it.
5 years is
time flies when you have
fun. Yeah, so like we had mutual friends. I actually met Louis' wife before him. And
what do you mean before him?
Well, I met her first. And
like, were you dating?
No, we never dated.
I thought I had a juicy story here right off the bat. I'm like, oh, this got interesting quick.
We have a crazy reveal. No, I met Mila before through some friends, and then it wasn't until after I knew Mila for a bit that I met Adam, and yeah, we immediately started talking about music when we first met, and kind of, it really bonded over like talking about essential mixes and just house music in general.
Yeah.
Now at that time, did you already start DJing? Because I know, like,
right, yeah,
you know, and I'm not sure about you, Adam, but I know that you, at least, you didn't start DJing until, like, I don't want to say your later years, but
yeah, that's safe to say for sure.
Recently than back in the past. Like when we were in high school, you weren't doing this, right?
No, I was involved in the scene. Like I was partying a bit. Actually, Richard Pyra, whom we both know. Adam actually also knows.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he actually was involved in a party that we threw, a couple parties that we threw at the Emeralds in Vancouver, actually.
Okay.
This is the T-shirt.
Electronic.
Yeah, that was the name of the party that we decided. And yeah, so anyway, I was like kind of into the scene, and I didn't really start DJing until, when was it? I guess it was like around 2014-ish, 2015, I guess.
Okay, and what got you into it?
Well, in all honesty, I could never afford like proper turntables and like a proper setup, so that kind of detracted me from kind of diving in, and like in the times of vinyl and stuff like that, it was like pretty expensive hobby. So with the introduction of controllers and stuff like that, things got cheaper and more affordable. So that's, I'm like, you know what, rather than like buy a guitar and try and learn that, I'm just going to do something I like. I know I like anyways. And then so then I started playing around with that, and then slowly graduated and actually learned how to play vinyl after digital, which is not usually the way
it goes.
Usually goes vinyl first.
But I guess that's probably because, like, at that point, vinyl had come out first.
Yeah, it was probably all you had, right?
It was more, like, prominent at that point.
Totally.
Now it's, like, reversed, so it would make sense that someone in, like, nowadays, right? Would learn
Totally.
Absolutely, yeah. Probably more are now.
Because now there's probably more people who haven't even touched vinyl records.
Absolutely.
But have gone digital.
Absolutely,
Right?
yeah.
And even now, vinyl records are expensive as shit.
Yeah, and you can buy, there's so much available online.
Yeah, and you sometimes have to buy 2 of the same vinyl, which
Yeah.
is like...
Yeah. Quite often I find myself, sometimes I order online, and it's like, then you got to pay for shipping, so it just adds extra to the cost.
100%. And Adam, how about you? So how did you get into DJing?
It's been I've been into it for a long time. Started going out in England, I guess when I was around 17 years old.
Okay.
Started going to clubs, hearing music, electronic music, house, hard house was pretty big in our area at the time, which was fun. So we used to, just go to these clubs and then just got into the sound and just, got into it and bought some decks, and I've been kind of buying records for a long time.
And now you live in Vancouver, but clearly you didn't live in Vancouver your whole life.
No.
So,
been here about 10 years now.
So what made you move here?
Snowboarding.
Really?
Yeah, I have two.
Were you one of those people who
pastimes.
worked at Whistler for a few years?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't work there, but I just lived there for a bit.
Okay,
just ski bummed it for a couple of winters. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, then came to Vancouver and stayed.
Nice.
Met my wife and family and just living here. Yeah.
So we were always like talking about music and stuff like that, and then I had this idea that I had been DJing for a couple of years, just like in my bedroom, as like most people kind of start, and then I'm like, I want to throw a party, and I know a couple of people that would probably like to be involved.
Yeah.
And Adam was one of those people, so that was kind of, then we started doing that. Through how many? 2 parties, I guess?
Yeah, a couple of parties, yeah.
2 parties, and then we would often just go to each other's house and like play records and stuff like that. Because, it's just a fun thing to do. And then one of these days, I was at eating breakfast at Save On Meats. Mm-hmm. I noticed these guys like in the DJ booth. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, this looks pretty awesome. So I just kind of asked like what was going on, and the guy's like, this is a radio station. We broadcast live on the internet, and if you want to know more, email this guy. So I think it was maybe Ash that I first talked to, and I said, hey, and then we got introduced to the guy that ran the station at the time, James Hearn, and and our house was kind of born, and that's when things really...
Yeah, actually that was a really good breakfast because we did some pies with James as well, so yes, I'm glad you went.
Save On Meats is like a deli / quick in-and-out
diner,
eatery.
Yeah.
So how does a place that's essentially made for serving food host a radio station?
Well, they have a big component of what they do is like community-based sort of outreach. So they do a lot of feeding people in the area who need food. So the radio station is part of that community work. They have a lot of people come in and do talk radio for issues that they see, around there. So I guess it probably came from that angle.
Totally.
And then of course they incorporate music as well into it.
Okay.
It's they're really good. They're really open-minded, like progressive place, and they do a lot of good work for that area.
Yeah, their token system is what you're referring to.
Yeah, exactly,
which I think is a great system.
They like host dinners. It seems like they have, say, a company or a group of people will come in, a charity, and they'll like host a dinner, and they'll have a group of people who need it. I don't know where they get certain housing areas or whatever they would invite in for the evening. Yeah. And then they get a 3-course dinner, and it's normally served by people connected to the company that are sponsoring the event, that type of thing. So they seem
a few people that go to that.
Yeah.
Like to help.
Yeah. So it's it's really good.
Yeah, I think they've always really been involved in kind of grassroots, community-based supports and services, and to my knowledge, that's kind of how Save on Radio kind of was born. It's like it was kind of, I think it started at the time when radio was like radio and very sterile and not very now there's podcasts and stuff like that, right? So they were kind of before a lot of that stuff became popular. And it was just a chance for like up and coming artists just to have a space to play a weekly show or something like that. So that was kind of connected to the whole community service aspect of it. But because I was surprised too. I'm like, what the hell is a radio station doing in a diner? It didn't make much sense.
But you've seen the booth there.
Yeah.
It's wicked.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's such an interesting place.
It's for sure cool setup.
Yeah, even just stood there for 2 hours, you just get to see all of the stuff that happens on Hastings, and it's always interesting.
How many shows are part of this, or how many programs are part of this radio station?
It's pretty fully booked up. I think mainly during the day they seem to be pretty full, and then there's some spaces in the evening. But they're pretty heavy scheduled, I think, and then they would play repeats of old shows if there's no one in there. Okay. They try and keep the radio running all the way through. So you reach out to Save On Meats, and this was how long ago?
I guess it would have been just over a year ago now, because we started in October.
Yeah, we're over a year.
October 2018.
And you had the idea to do the radio show right away, or what? You were just reaching out to be like, what is this?
Yeah, basically. I had no idea anything. I knew nothing about it. And so I'm like, what's our options here? And the guy's like, well, do you want like a weekly show? And at that time I thought, well, I was kind of busy, like working my master's and working and stuff like that. So I thought, well, maybe let's do it every 2 weeks just to like make it a bit simpler. And then they're like, 6 to 8 Wednesdays, we have that free. Do you want to take it or not? And we're like, might as well. So we thought, we'll just kind of model it after kind of the old school radio stations. I mean, I grew up on like BBC Radio 1, in like my mid to late teens, and the Essential Mix and the Essential Selection, all that stuff. And what was that radio station that you were talking about as well that was kind of similar? That you always listened to?
Radio 1 would have been the big one for sure. The Essential Mix and Danny Rampelin's Love Groove Dance
Party. That one,
was the radio show for me. Which was massive. That's why you get into the music back in those days, right? It was radio. That was kind of where you got into these sounds when we were like 17, 18 years old. It wasn't everywhere. So
I mean, like, I don't know how much you kind of know about like the history of dance music, but that's kind of how it started in a sense. Like, it started in places that often weren't like the most popular places like Chicago and Detroit, where there was a large community of neglected people that were just like, let's get together and have some fun, and then started making clubs and parties. And there were places like in Berlin that wouldn't allow clubs and parties and stuff like that to happen, so radio was like a big way to get it out kind of to the masses, because you either went to a club, radio stations didn't really play it, so there was like a lot of kind of underground like non-really legit radio stations that would play like techno or house music or disco. Even like disco was kind of a dirty music, like not a popular music for a while.
Well, that's probably how like house music and electronic music really hit it big time. It was made in Chicago and Detroit and New York and those kind of places, and then English people heard it and they played it on their radio, and it just like it went viral around England, and then it just spread from there.
But so how did you guys in general get into house music? Because you could have played anything,
I think
so. Do you strictly stick to how? Because I think on one of your episodes you guys were doing like drum and bass.
We did drum and bass.
But then is that still technically like house music or?
No. House would be just kind of like, I guess, the dominant theme throughout most of the shows. But we run off at all different angles. So a lot of funk, soul, some disco, like some Afrobeat and things.
Because historically, I was always leaned towards kind of like the techno spectrum of dance music. And obviously when you talk about dance music and electronic music, it's such a like... You could talk for hours just about the genres and the subgenres and the sub-genres. But anyways, I kind of came more from like really back in the day. I really like trance and like some of that stuff that's a bit embarrassing to admit these days. Even hard house, like that I was talking about earlier. I mean, shout out to Richard Pyre. I'm sure he'll know some of the stuff we're talking about. And so anyways, and then, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but you kind of more grew up on more of like the soulful side in a sense.
Yeah, well, I think that was just music. I used to listen to a lot at home. Like, it was always soul music in the house. My dad was always listening to Motown and that type of stuff. But then when I first got into electronic music, it would have been hard house.
Right.
which is, I don't know if you're really too familiar with it. It's pretty fast. His house music just sped up.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but it's nothing I listen to.
And it was weird, like this part of England where I grew up in, around that time, that was the scene that just evolved, and some of the DJs there playing these parties went on to become really big DJs like Fergie.
Yeah.
Fergie was a young resident as like a 19-year-old or something, you know, in the club that we used to go to all the time. So it was just something I kind of got tangled in with.
You're talking about Fergie, the Black Eyed Peas chick?
No.
That would be weird. Good question.
In the middle of England.
Good job of clarifying that.
I'm sure I wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
If anybody is listening.
Fergie? Oh, I know Fergie.
Yeah.
She used to
No,
DJ.
when I think of Fergie, I think of a different Fergie. Yeah,
Fergie. Irish, yeah.
Irish DJ. He's a Radio 1 presenter now, or he used to be anyway.
Yeah, he used to be.
But yeah, there was just like a scene there, and it was just exciting just to get caught up in that. But that was kind of when you're younger, and then you start, you know, you get a little older and you hear better wiser music, and you're like, okay, hard house, this is maybe not the best
Tell me
music.
if I was listening to good house music, because I know I don't even know if he's house music, but Carl Cox was one guy I would listen to.
Legend.
And then Felix the House Cat.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I got good taste in house music.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, tastes are tastes. We don't all like the same kind of drink. We don't all like the same kind of food. And I think it'd be pretty boring if we all kind of operated that way. So I try and stray away from like good or bad. It's just what you're into, really.
Okay.
I mean, I'll have biases and say, you know, the music we play is the best music
It's
on
the
earth.
best
But I
music
mean, like,
you'll find,
I'm super biased. Of course I'm going to say that. Like, I love this music, right? So
that's why we play it.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? That's often, I think, a topic that some people kind of fall into. It's just like, oh, and especially people are kind of protective of their interest and their passion in music. And when the EDM scene kind of rolled in and like took the world by storm, there's a lot of DJs who are like, that's not real house music, that's not real dance music, that's not real whatever kind of music. It's like, well, people are liking it for a reason, so there's got to be something to it. I mean, personally, it's not for me, but heck, if that's what you're into, then go for it.
Okay, so you're into house music, you guys meet up,
yeah.
You start talking to the people at Save On Meats. Now, at that point, are you guys already working, like, together in making music and stuff, or is this just your two buddies and then you're kind of like, hey, I got this idea?
We've been DJing together just like, you know,
just like
playing at home and then we played a few parties together, and we did a couple of little things, events and stuff, and then that just happened to work out kind of as that was progressing, so everything just kind of fell in line quite nicely. Like, we'd all been playing together out, you know, a few times, and then like, do you want to do a radio show? Like, yeah, sure, like, why not?
Yeah, like playing with another person can pose its pros and cons. Like, it sometimes has challenges. So we would just play, like, again, we would be like, oh, you want to come over and, you know, jam for 2 hours, and then we'd just play 2 or 3 or 4 hours, and you kind of start to develop a bit of a groove. Again, which I don't think is super common to develop, which was like encouraging as well. It's like, oh yeah, when we play music together, it actually sounds kind of good.
Yeah.
You guys were vibing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there you go. That's a good word for it.
That's a good word for it. So it just progressed really nicely, and then the radio show has just been even better. Like, it's just been great.
Oh yeah.
Just, you know, doing that every 2 weeks, we do the show. So, you know, you get together and you keep playing all the time. It just keeps you fresh and keeps, like, I don't know, just keeps getting better, and then hopefully doing some more fun things in the future.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare for that? Like, at the beginning, I'm gonna assume, like myself, I mean, this isn't a radio station or anything like that, but you guys probably made some mistakes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Episode
Yes.
one, for
Absolutely.
example, where you forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Do my research.
Nice one. Yeah, that's usually me if the recording is forgotten.
That's Jay's side of it.
I'm usually up to
business,
that, because like you were saying earlier, like, you're a one-man show here.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Dude,
and
I triple check. Even now, I don't know if these cameras are recording.
Yeah.
I seriously don't. I just push it and I hope, see, like, this turned off. This shouldn't be off right
That's
now.
not a good thing.
Nobody's here to tell me this. And I told somebody, I'm like, I need a young Jamie. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
Dude, but,
yeah.
you know, it's like one thing at a time.
Sure.
Let me,
Yeah.
figure this out, and then I can go from there. But what was it like? You go in day one, already you forgot to hit the record button. So what were the mistakes that came up right away. I mean, you're putting together a radio show, something you've never done before, right?
No. Yeah, we'd never done it before. And we went in and they gave us like a rundown and they kind of say, you know,
this is how this works.
And you're like, but when someone's showing it to you, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. I'll do that. Yeah, got that. Okay, that, right. Okay, got it.
1 week later.
You come back in a week later, you're like, right. What was that again?
Oh, this looks all foreign to me.
This one and that one.
So,
but, yeah, we've muddled through it.
Yeah, I'll have to be honest. I mean, I feel like it's taken us, I'd say the last maybe 5 shows until we've really now like kind of hit our stride and are becoming more comfortable with everything. Because like even just talking on the radio, I mean, it may seem kind of simple, but I mean, again, as you probably know, sometimes it's like, oh, like once like the red light goes on, you have no idea what to say all of a sudden. And like for me, I'm more focused on playing music, and that takes its own kind of energy and concentration, and especially when you're playing with someone else, like, you know, you don't want to just. I mean, sometimes we do anyways, but like start anything from complete left field. So yeah, that was a bit struggling, at least for me. I found it was tough. It's like even now, sometimes I'll. I forgot what I was going to say. So it's like those were, I think, for me, was a big challenge.
Yeah, I think just probably getting more comfortable and talking on the microphone was a big one. Yeah, never done anything like that before. So that music wise, it was okay. Like the DJing side of things, I think we're all right with. And then just things like remembering to have your levels right, getting all it technically right, the mics correct, your distance from the mic, learning the little niches on the mixer and the things that you learn after doing it for like a year. Totally. And now I feel like we're just slick, like we've got the levels right, everything's sounding good, no mistakes, it just gets tighter.
It's like every episode you look for something that you're always looking to improve, but like you always look at the episode previous and you're like, what did we mess up on? Or like that air thing that I was ambient air thing that I was thinking about. Like those things, and you're like, shit, how do I get rid of that? How do I stop this? Or oh, I forgot that. For me at the beginning, I would always say like.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Oh, and now I'm getting to the point where I'm like honing down on not saying it as much. But likes killed me.
Yeah. But you weren't aware of that until you start listening back.
I think the important thing is like you have to watch, or at least on your end, you guys have to listen to your previous episodes. And I think that's one thing that maybe people don't really think about, because like, I'm not listening to my own episode of whatever. Oh yeah. But you have to catch.
That's how you get it better.
Yeah. To catch all those negative things. Like even my dog breathing is on some episodes.
Nice.
So it's like...
So the next one you get him a bone.
Like you just gotta work. You gotta work. Oh, he eats. That's why there's no food in his bowl right now, because he started eating once. You can hear it in the mic. But okay, so you guys get set up, you get structured. Yeah. How many episodes are we in now? It seems like it's like 30.
32? So next week will be 33,
Yeah, and you guys have been going constantly bi-weekly.
We haven't missed one yet.
We haven't. There's 2 times that we've almost missed. One of them actually was for the filming of Man in the High Castle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The reason why that's interesting is because our next guest on the
little
podcast,
plug here.
Nice segue.
Is going to be an actress from The Man in the High Castle, Naomi Yoshida. Yeah.
Big one.
Totally. Make sure to tune in for that
continue.
one. And then the second, so we recorded it from my apartment that time. Yeah. So that was our one pre-recorded show. It wasn't live, technically. And then the second one was this past New Year's for the drum and bass episode. There was a moment, I know I felt it, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do the radio show. And then I texted Adam, or you actually texted me, and I was just like, so are we really doing the radio show today? And I'm like, we have to do it. Like, we haven't, number one, we had this special drum and bass episode scheduled, which I put a little bit of work into for sure. And number two, it's like, well, you can't miss the show,
So wait, the episode was on New Year's Day?
That was on New Year's Day.
Yeah, and you guys just wanted to go party.
Well, no.
We'd done too much the night before.
We had done the New Year's Eve partying the night before.
Okay.
That was the problem.
Yeah. We were
and what
very
time do
hungover.
you guys air?
6 p.m.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Well,
sleep in until 6 p.m. Wake up and go.
Not possible for me, unfortunately.
No, we were very hungover. Adam more than I, but
But the nice thing about it as well, people come by because where it is, it's nicely located. We'll have friends pop by.
That was nice, yeah.
And
couldn't have done it without that.
Bring some drinks and we'll have some food or whatever, and just hang out and have a laugh, and that's a real good element to it as well.
Okay, so New Year's Eve, you say that you were prepping for this episode, which means that you prep for every episode.
No, and that's why when you first introduced this idea of prepping, I kind of smirked, was because there's some weeks we have we have full-time jobs. This is just kind of something that we run on the side of our desk.
Totally.
So there's some days where we're just like, I've got music, but I don't know. We always also try not to play music from previous episodes. It's just, I mean, sometimes we do, of course, especially if it's a great tune. Like, we'll just play it again. Or we'll forget. So we do try and play new music every episode, but yeah, sometimes there's no prep at all, and you're just kind of I mean, that's kind of the beauty about dance music and DJing, is that you get creative and you kind of can go with the flow. As long as you have a set of tracks, then at least you've got something to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my prep is getting better as well. Just as the way it is in the studio, I'm getting better at the preparation side of things, more efficient. Rather, I used to bring 200 tracks.
Yeah,
you don't need 200 tracks. It's a 2-hour show. You splitting it with Jay, so really it's an hour's music. You really don't need to be bringing that much stuff.
So how do you determine what you're going to bring?
So it's more of I've got to this nice process kind of through the week. I'll be listening to certain things, or I'll be feeling a certain way, in a sort of style or a genre I'd want to play on the radio show, and I'll just start collecting and putting a few tunes aside for that.
Okay.
And then when it comes for the show, I'll have just enough to get me through, and I don't bring loads. I'm just trying to reduce it down to just a small selection of really good things that I want to play, rather than kind of searching rapidly to try.
And then when you're actually playing, you guys are just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So usually, you call it back to back in DJ lingo. I don't know maybe people don't know if I use that term, but it's so back to back. So you play either one track, or we usually go 2 and 2.
Okay.
So Adam usually starts us off with, something with a little bit of soul. And then, we'll go 2 and just generally progress through kind of however we feel, or whatever we want to go. And
there's never really, unless we do a special, there's never really a decided aim of where we're going to go. Normally, and this is why it's working quite well, that we both ended up going in the same direction. One show I ended up bringing a load of real jazzy type stuff, and then Jay just also happened to have got a load of jazzy type stuff with him as well. So we just ended up playing a load of jazzy stuff, and there was no planning or anything. It just worked out on the night, and stuff like that happened. When it does happen like that, it's really good.
Yeah, I was actually quite shocked about the drum and bass episode, because, I mean, drum and bass is such a huge, wide spectrum. And even just the fact, we didn't talk that, okay, we're going to bring this and bring that. We just kind of brought what we thought was good drum and bass, and somehow we hadn't managed to find it. I thought it was pretty good. One of my favorite episodes, actually. Yeah, so if it's something specific, we will just say, hey, let's do this episode, just so we know to bring that type of music, because we don't bring all of our entire library for every episode generally. But we just kind of settle in the middle if that's just our default, anywhere from disco, soul, house, techno, funk.
So what's the point in doing the radio if you're not getting paid for it?
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's just fun. Yeah, it's just a good fun thing to do.
It's fun.
Can you get paid for it?
Probably.
I'd love to get paid for it.
Does the Save on Beats not let you have advertisers or anything?
I mean, I'm kind of reading between the lines. That's kind of not really in the spirit of Save on Meats and Save on Radio. Again, it's just more of a community
radio
thing.
Yeah, okay. That's what it is.
And I'll be honest, that's also, I think, a struggle. I mentioned kind of the struggles with EDM earlier, the EDM kind of big room scene. And I think, unfortunately, I mean, in my opinion, money can find a way in kind of ruining precious scenes.
Totally.
When people are there for money, I think it has a bit of a different feel versus if you're just there because you love doing what you're doing. I mean, it's nice to get both, but I mean, totally. I'm cool with not, at least for now. And
I was surprised because I would figure that Save on Meats would just request that the advertisers or sponsors or whatever it may be, a portion of that would go towards the cause of community building.
Yeah.
Right? So it's interesting that that's the case.
Yeah, and I think also up until recently, again, I mean, their number one priority is the restaurant, right? It's the services that they do, and again, even the radio station is on the side of their desks as well. So I think it's something that just kind of comes as a bonus. Obviously, they love doing it, and but yeah, because there's no advertising and there's no one really there monitoring the station when no one's broadcasting.
Yeah,
it's kind of run by the DJs. You turn up.
Yeah,
Keep it running. Yeah.
And how often is it broadcasting? We talked about this a little bit earlier.
It should be broadcasting all the time, really.
24/7, technically, yeah.
Yeah, but it's
reruns
I
through.
mean, there's not a new live session happening every 2 hours or whatever.
Pretty much throughout the day, I think it's going to be live, probably up until maybe our time. We finish around 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think some days it'll probably go later, but
and then it's just a repeat.
Yeah,
of essentially what happened that day.
Yeah, there's like an automated service that kind of runs through previous episodes, or just that's basically what it is. And then when someone's doing a live show, they interrupt that stream, and then they do the live show, and then when we leave, we turn that stream back on.
Okay.
Otherwise, there's really no one there.
Now, what are your real jobs? Because I'm sure people are curious.
I still don't know what Adam does, actually, so I'm really eager to hear this. Finally, we're going to know.
That's interesting.
Let's start with Jay then.
Okay.
The suspense.
Well, I right after high school, I went into psychiatric nursing. So I've been psychiatric nursing now for 13 years. But more recently, I've gone into teaching. So I work at Douglas College as a psychiatric nursing instructor. So that's basically what I do Monday to Friday.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And the school to which Jay teaches is right across the school to which we went to high school at.
Exactly.
So he literally now works across the street from where he went to high school.
Exactly. And the funny thing is when I was a high school student, especially when you get into the kind of grade 11, grade 12, you don't want to eat in the high school cafeteria. You want to eat in the college cafeteria where they have White Spot and all these,
The good fries.
Yeah, right? Even though sometimes I would just sneak my own lunch in there. But we used to... The college students would get mad at us.
Yeah.
And now I just got lunch the other day at the college. I'm like, why are there all these high school students here? And it was...
It's funny you should say that, because I also went to Douglas and I had the exact same problem. I, at first, would be the student from high school going there being like, this is awesome. Yeah. Whatever. Then I went as a college student. I'm like, why the... are these high school kids here?
Oh,
you got your own friggin' thing. But, on one occasion, I did want Subway, and I don't know if you know this, but we had a small Subway kind of thing in our high school.
High school, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I would go there, and I would go to the high school. I don't even know if this is legal at that point. Cause I would get Subway from our high school.
You did the...
I did the
you
reverse.
flipped it on them.
Sometimes I even debate, I'm like, I should just sit and eat it right here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, you can't sit here. Yeah, I can. It's actually against the law.
Shit. Now that I say that, I don't know what the logistics are there, but I was definitely 19 or 20 walking into a high school getting a Subway.
Oh, that's not so bad then. I would more imagine me at 35 walking in there and being like, hey.
If I were you, I'd totally do it just for the sake of trying to do it.
Yeah. I'm probably not going to do that. I'll just...
just get a White Spot.
Yeah.
We know what you do.
Yeah. Don't skip this over. I got to hear this, sir. We're not...
Yeah, it's fascinating.
So what do you do?
So I work in finance for an investment company.
Okay.
Yeah.
What investment company?
Connor Clark and Lunn.
What do they do other than investing?
That's all they do.
Try and take over the world.
World domination.
So it's weird to me. It's crazy. So DJ, house music, but psychiatric nurse.
Yeah.
And then investment company. Are you I guess, I don't know, a financial advisor in that sense?
No, I work in the operations, middle office.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So how does a psychiatric nurse and one who works in investing get into DJing on the side? And a second question to that question is, would you ever leave your full-time job to become a full-time DJ?
Oh, that's a big question.
Yes, absolutely.
The first one, not so
What
much.
if
The
the
second.
money isn't as good?
Well, the money would have to be at least the same.
Okay, let's just assume
That's
it's the
stipulation.
Same. Yeah,
Then
let's
yes,
just
yeah.
assume it's the same.
The first question, sort of remind me what the first question was. It was
Well, like how do you go as a psychiatric nurse to like, oh, I'm gonna DJ on the side too. Yeah, it's just kind of like you figure it's like a DJ's life is a DJ's life. Like
Right.
you're DJ, that's what you do. You're gonna be at events or weddings or at a club or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just like your life, and that's gonna be the way you're gonna make your money too. But for you guys, that's not the case. The case is that you guys have a hobby that you love doing, that you're talented at and skilled at, and you're presenting that in a very professional way where it could be a career-oriented thing. But at the same time, it's not. It's just the side hustle that isn't a side hustle because it's not making guys.
It's a side passion.
Yeah, so it's just this
passion
sort
project.
of like, I'm just going to call it a hobby at this point. But it seems like it's kind of like a career.
But
it could be.
That's the best thing about it, that we're not doing it for any reasons other than like we like to do it and we like to play music and have fun and have get your friends together and have a dance. Like that's the purest form of what dance music should really represent, I think, and that's what we're doing.
I loved music prior to getting into DJing, really. And I almost kind of think that DJing is kind of an extension of my love for music. Like it's always been something that I've loved, I've used to cope with stress. I mean, it's scientifically backed. Like there's a lot of people that, I think there was a study that I heard, it's like if you listen to half an hour of music per day, it increases your happiness or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you double that, it like increases some percentage. It's like it's one of those things. I think that as human beings, we're just kind of naturally connected to rhythm and energy and that kind of thing. So, 100%. Like it's always been something that has been a bit of an escape for me. But now doing this as being a little bit more involved in it, then absolutely, it's a totally. I mean, psychiatric nursing is a very challenging job for, I would say everyone. Definitely deal with some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But having that kind of release and that even again, it comes for me like on the dance floor. Like I like DJing, but I love being on the dance floor as well because that's a place for me where I can just, get a little weird and close my eyes and just I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's like, it's great. It's great.
It's
good.
true.
It's good
It's the release, right?
Yeah. So being able to not only do that and provide that for other people, for sure, there's a definite kind of escape in a sense, for sure. There's also a huge aspect in terms of stigma when it comes to mental health. And, kind of when I signed up for the job, I dedicated my life to break down some of that stigma. And we've all been in really shitty times, and we've all been at our worst. And generally the people that I've had story-worthy experiences are at their worst and are at the bottom of their lives. So, I mean, it is interesting and it's kind of exciting to talk about.
Can you just tell me in general, like, what you deal with? Because you could say psychiatric
for sure.
nursing,
Yeah.
And I could want a really juicy story.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with not getting one. But to give people a perspective of what it is you actually do.
No, that I'm happy to
like
do.
in
for
a
sure.
general sense?
Yeah.
Can you break that down?
Totally. So, I mean, through my career,
Sorry, Adam. I apologize. Your job isn't as interesting.
We couldn't really get down into the weeds of financial operations next if you want.
I still don't clearly know what he does.
It's like Chandler from Friends. Nobody knows.
You're not the first person to
I
say
know
that.
it's in finance, but it's like, what? So for most of my career, I've worked with people who experience psychosis, which is an experience which I'll sum up as kind of your brain playing tricks on you and kind of losing touch with reality. I've worked primarily in community mental health, which is outpatient psychiatry, working with a team of psychiatrists and nurses and social workers and occupational therapists and all these other people. But that's kind of my main interest. I like working with folks who have schizophrenia or psychosis or, bipolar disorder. So that's primarily the population in which I've worked. Done a few contracts up north, up in Nunavut, working with the Inuit population up there. But essentially, I mean, my job for the past 13 years before I got into teaching was, keeping people well in the community, helping people manage any type of mental illness, whether it be depression, like I said, bipolar, schizophrenia, through medication management sometimes, through psychotherapy sometimes, through just real basic stuff sometimes, like getting your grade 12 or graduating from college or pursuing a career that you want to do or whatever it is. But yeah, working with folks who have schizophrenia, sometimes there are some pretty wild things that can happen, especially when you're talking about reality and that kind of thing. So, but so
good work.
But so that's essentially to sum it up is working with people who have severe and persistent mental illnesses is kind of the area in where psychiatric nurses work. We work in hospital, we work in community, we work in education, we work in a lot of different areas. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Good for you, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
First you worked in the system, and now you teach the people. That will work in this system.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's fun. It's been a great shift. It's been a lot of fun. It was a huge learning curve, which I didn't really realize. So props to all you teachers out there, because everyone's like, "Oh, teachers, you get the summer off." Like, sometimes I think they get a little bit of, but it's a hard job, and it takes a lot of skill, and marking is not easy either. So it's.
Oh, I bet. You know what though? I spoke to a couple of teachers, high school, middle school, and elementary school.
Oh, wow.
And all three teachers, I said, hey, have you ever, taken, home stuff that you're supposed to mark, and then instead of actually marking it, your students enough to know where they're going to approximately grade, and you just... All three of them admitted to doing that. All three of them.
Shame on you.
So, and it's not just them. Every teacher has done that at least once.
Oh, I'm sure.
And thinking back on it, I remember, getting stuff and being like, whoa, I did way better on this than I should have. Or sometimes being like, wait, what? Why did I do so bad? I tried so hard. Now I know.
If I'd have known that, I wouldn't have bothered. I'd just type out a load of nonsense. There you go.
Yeah.
See? Fine, thanks.
So it's crazy.
I'm sure it happens, yeah.
Yeah, I was just seriously? And here's the thing. If two of them said it and the third one was whatever, but the girl that I asked, she's super conservative and super by the book, and even she admitted to doing it. Really? So I'm like, hey, if she's done it, then every teacher has done it.
Yeah. Stupid. I'm still a novice, so I haven't gone to that step yet either. But I'll answer the question if you want to ask it, Mahyar. I have not yet. Okay.
So that's 3 out of 4. You're 25%.
One day.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, it's not as easy as you think. So there's a point that I could see it could get overwhelming. You're like, you know what? Forget about it. A, B, C. But no, I haven't done that yet, fortunately. But
I think that speaks more to the way the system's set up, right?
I think so too. Yeah.
If it's reached a point where people are just being marked within their normal band, is that the best way of doing it?
Yeah. No. I mean, the way I look at it as well, it's if I don't give good feedback, then that psychiatric nurse, when I lose my mind, is gonna take care of me. So I want to make sure I give them good feedback so that they take good care of me. So there's really a self-incentive there.
Yeah, 100%. Those three teachers should be listening to Jay. Practice what he preaches. I was kind of shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little shocked.
I think elementary, middle school, and high school is a bit of a different kettle of fish as well, though. Like Adam said, the system is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Expecting teachers in the public system to do what they do, I think is completely unsustainable. But I think that maybe that's another podcast.
Yeah. So it's mainly a form of escape for you guys.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's what music kind of is, and dancing in itself, right?
Yeah.
Especially for Adam, because he has a wife and kid.
Just one.
One kid?
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I love it.
Does she understand your passion for house music?
She does, yeah.
Does it ever drive her crazy?
She gets to hear a lot of the same tracks, I think, often. I get into a groove with some tracks. She's good. No, she's good. She enjoys it.
But does she listen to that type of genre?
She does, yeah.
Okay, so it's not something she hates?
No. No, not at all. No, we've shared many dance floors. Yeah, she knows what's going on.
Does she ever ask you, why don't you do this full time, or why don't you stop doing this?
She's never asked me that. No. I don't know. No, she's always been supportive. She'll always turn up for everything we want to do and let me do it and allow me to do it. She's great.
I feel like I don't think Adam would have married Mila if she wasn't so into music as well.
Yeah.
She's got fantastic taste in music as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's...
And your child, he or she?
It's a he.
It's a he?
Yeah.
Does he listen to, like,
Yeah.
do you practice at home? And...
Yeah, he loves it. It's wicked. Yeah,
How old is he?
he's coming up 2.
Okay, so he's just identifying with, like, music and sounds, like, where he's sort of, like, expressing...
Yeah, actually, this very morning, we were having breakfast, and I was playing the records, and literally as it finished, the last song on the first side of the record finished, and he turned around and pointed at the record player, and he goes, there's this little signal for more, and he's like, more music.
That's crazy.
And I was such a proud dad. I was like, yes, that's my boy.
He's going to be in the radio station soon.
Yeah. He's actually joined us.
Yeah, you can hear him on the back of a few videos.
Seriously?
Crying in one of them, yeah.
I'm imagining you with one of those like strap-on things where he's in the front with sunglasses, like your hands are like DJing, but so are his.
Well, house music's pretty good. You get to sleep, just rocking.
You've definitely had him in your arms before. Well, on the mic, yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Was that just like a random circumstance, or is that regular?
Yeah, well, it's nice that everyone can be involved in it as well, other than just me and Jay. So yeah, sometimes Theo and Mila will come down and we'll have dinner before the show, and they'll come hang out for a bit, and other friends will call through. So yeah, we just try and make it open door policy, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. Some of our most favorite episodes is when we get a bunch of people in the booth, and
sometimes we forget that we have to do a bit of talking because having a party in the back.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it was really cool. In our first year, right next to Save on Meats was the Snug, which was a Persephone kind of pop-up tasting room.
Okay.
Which had all of the delicious Persephone beers on tap.
Okay.
You'll notice maybe that's also part of the reason why our first year of episodes are a little bit wonky, because we, sometimes would overindulge.
They start off fresh, and as the episode progresses,
the wheels fall off eventually.
And when we started, there was a show straight afterwards, so we'd only do 2 hours. But then there was a period when the next show they weren't coming for whatever reason, so we had the ability to keep playing because there was no one else until the next day.
Nice.
So we just keep playing, and we just keep drinking, and playing.
Let's just go another half an hour.
By the time we hit like 3.5
hours.
Sounds like
a Friday night, a good weekend.
Yeah, that's the only struggle. It's on a Wednesday, so it's
you gotta work the next day. Unfortunately,
you can't overindulge too much, because then Thursday sucks.
So is there a struggle to get good time, like good air time, so to speak? Like, I assume Wednesday at 8 p.m. isn't maybe the exact ideal time to play house music if you're only playing once or twice a month. How do you guys structure the hours that you get? Like that Wednesday slot that you're given, is there an opportunity for you guys
potentially
to
there would be? I don't know. We were given that when we went. It was pretty full, the schedule. There wasn't many slots, so we were given this Wednesday slot. And really, I don't think I'd want to change, to be honest with you. It works quite well.
Yeah. And even like, I know some of our friends, like 6 to 8 p.m., often people are home.
Yep.
They're making dinner.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of...
Yeah.
I mean, again, when we say house music, some people think of that as really high energy. Some of our shows are... I mean, they might get high energy, which we sometimes go to, but... all of them are, just good hanging out music, too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cooking music.
It's good background music, everything. I was listening to it all week. I was listening to it while playing video games.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was listening to it while working.
Excellent.
I was just listening to it while I was vacuuming and cleaning.
Yeah.
So it goes with it's eclectic in the sense that it goes with all my favorite activities.
Brilliant.
Vacuuming?
Definitely.
Yeah. I have the iPad.
Sweet.
Yeah, you can get into it, right? Yeah, it's not the worst task.
Yeah, 100%. So you just, I was actually going to mention that I felt it wasn't too over powering out where it's like too crazy and it's like you feel like you're in a club or in some like
yeah.
But it's not too underwhelming where you're not in an elevator.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a good sweet spot to be. 100%. I think try and keep like the general theme is just to kind of keep a groove going through the show that will dip in and out of different genres, but it kind of maintains the same kind of groove, I guess. Really, like just a rhythm that pops through it, but it's a soul track or a funk track or a house track. There's still that kind of soulful groove.
Do you guys have plans to expand on the show, like add more time slots, add more hours?
We thought about getting in guest mixes, like
Yeah.
trying to get some local DJs to come through and play.
Yeah.
But, we realised the downside to that is that'd be less time
we
for us
don't
to play on our own radio show.
Yeah.
So we haven't really gone much further with that
We've
one.
kind of tossed around the idea of trying to find something once a week, but again, right now it's like it's kind of at this perfect balance is that you actually like look forward to the show every 2 weeks, whereas again, when you're kind of busy, you don't want it to turn into a chore and be like, oh, you know what, like I don't want to do the show every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's that kind of fine balance between able to enjoy it versus seeing it as a chore, I think, at least for me. But we're definitely starting to think more about doing more parties, which I think is something we want to do definitely more of. The radio station is fantastic, kind of just the way it is. It's just kind of this little entity that keeps chugging along, whereas we definitely want to start throwing more parties because those are really like the most fun things. It's just getting an actual crowd of people and playing,
Getting them dancing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So monetary gain here isn't like this isn't a business for you guys in any sense.
Well, I mean, just in case anyone's listening who wants to pay for our work, we absolutely do
We'd
enjoy
be
getting
more
paid.
than happy to accept anyone that's willing to give us money.
But you're not going out of your way to
No.
Correct. Yeah.
to like make everything monetize or whatever.
No,
Not
Like,
particularly.
No.
Yeah, and with the radio station, for example, as you mentioned, like it's kind of faux pas, I guess.
Well, I don't know if it's faux pas per se, but I don't know. Again, it's just
ask about that. Ask somebody about that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, the general radio station doesn't have any adverts or anything like that. And again, like for me, I'm not a huge fan of, and I'm like, why I loved YouTube so much. Is that like there was back in the day there was like no advertising on it.
Yeah.
And I understand people got to make money and that sort of thing, but I'm just not a huge fan of advertising, to be honest. So that's not something that I would want to add to the show necessarily, because I also think the way in which we play kind of follows a bit of a groove, and that's why we play 2 hours of very little talking and a lot of playing. Is when you kind of throw a little wrench in the groove. It's like
Don't want to throw a wrench in the groove.
don't want to throw a wrench in that groove, at least for me, that's just.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But do you have the same? Do you see it in the same light?
Yeah. I think. I think we'd be more interested in, I guess, associating with things that would get us more exposure to new listeners and things like that over making money. Yeah, we're certainly not coming at it from a money angle. No, just playing good music, and if we can get more people listening to it and more people tuning in, that would be.
I can see why some people would scratch their heads at that, I suppose. But again, it's one of those things when you know the kind of the roots of soul and house and the scene. It's like no one wanted to get rich out of this, and even like most of the biggest DJs that created the genre of house and techno, they're just only now starting getting kind of more into the limelight, whereas in the 80s, 90s, thousands, no one really knew who guys from Detroit were or Chicago, even though that's where the scene originated. So it's like,
I think that's the whole EDM problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
right?
that's just it, right?
Different. That's not come from that same, I guess, origin, that same place of like the pure reasons of doing it for fun and happiness and like getting together with people and sharing an experience and all that. This is a packaged product that's sold to as many people as they can sell it to. So I think that's the separation.
Yeah, and not to get too like hippy dippy and that kind of thing, but like you mentioned vibe earlier, and like there's so much vibe and energy to the dance music scene, and when you go into a spot, like let's say you go to a party, immediately when you walk in the doors, like there's really kind of 3 things that I find important. Like obviously number 1, music's important. Yeah. But I would almost argue like in a tie for 1 or a close second, it's just like the vibe and the energy in the room. Because you can have like the best music playing on the speakers, and if people are just there on their Instagram or on their like, advertising or whatever it is that people do. I don't know. I think it's just, you feel it, and it's like, it doesn't let me be comfortable in that area kind of thing.
Totally.
I don't know if that makes sense.
But I think it's different. Like when you're in a club, you're not going to be like, hey guys, go buy Nike, just do it. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
fair point.
Like when you're doing a radio station thing though, or a podcast, I mean, you get on like, you know, for a couple minutes every now and then, you know, like, hey, so that was great. We, you know, listened to a little bit of Deep Dish and blah blah. You know, like whatever, right? And then in that segment, you'd be like, you know, today's episode is brought to you by this awesome company that's paying us right now to say this. And it's especially good when you and that company are aligned and are like-minded and have the same
that would
stuff
be
involved.
Yeah.
Like Country, who I love, and house and everything.
Smooth.
I will partner with companies that have like-minded interests in me and that support things that I love doing.
Sure.
And I believe in their company, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like double support system.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm reaching out to you, Jay, but I hope maybe I've planted a seed where you're like, hey, actually,
you've got my contact.
I mean,
hashtag Technics.
Let's get some free shit.
Yeah. I'm definitely not opposed to people giving us money for sure, but
it doesn't even have to be money.
Products.
Like another thing could be like head down to one of the record shops. What's the one on East Hastings?
There's a couple there. Beat Street or
Beat Street.
Vinyl.
Yeah, head to Beat Street and be like, yo, we just need some records to play, like something new that we don't have, like some, and we'll mention that we got the records here, and for people to come to Beat Street and get them. Dude, things like that. You'd be surprised how companies would want to network with you.
Yeah.
Not even pay you, but where it's like a win-win. Like, you guys are going to get new tracks to play, and we're just going to get a quick 30-second, like, hey, we got these records from Beat Street. Thanks to Beat Street for it.
We do that anyway, normally.
Beat Street.
Beat Street. Great record shop.
Yeah, things like that.
Audiophile. Hi.
Okay,
Adam seems like he's totally on board. You and I will sit down. We'll say, okay, dude.
I'll take some notes.
We'll give you some notes, and you guys will be off.
He's the finance guy, really. I mean,
because here's the thing: you can sit here and argue, and I don't mean to go on a tangent, but I will, because I feel like you're right in the sense, like, okay, you don't want to, you know, be a corporate man, and like, you know, you want to do this for the love, and that's great. But then, okay, then think of it this way. How could you benefit? How could this other company benefit? And how could, for example, Save on Meats benefit, where a portion of, if you guys do get paid, goes towards a contribution or benefit that Save on Meats does. You let Save on Meats know, hey, we got this company and they want to do X, Y, Z, and you guys are going to get Y and Z out of that. What do you guys like? Isn't that awesome? And like, yeah, I'm sure. You know, like I'm sure even they'd be even more hyped up about that too, right? So it's just find a win-win-win for everybody, and it doesn't have to be money, but it can be. So your fan base, speaking of them, going up.
Well, that's also kind of, I think, a challenge. Is we have no idea how many listeners that we have every week. Because the radio software in Save on Radio is quite basic. So it kind of goes again. That kind of goes to show you there's not a lot of money that rolls into the station.
Yeah.
It's very basic. So we don't even know who's listening.
Our listener feedback is word of mouth. That's where we get it from. Yeah.
Okay.
But you'll meet a friend of a friend, and they'll be like, "Hey, I listen to your radio show. I really enjoy it." And, oh, brilliant! That's great. Like people are out there listening to it, and it seems like people are liking it more and more. So we're going in the right direction.
Yeah. You got to get somehow analytics to that. Have you talked to Save on Meats to see if they...
We asked them a while back, and they said they just didn't have that functionality as part. I don't know.
Up until more recently, there's also a little bit of a captainless ship for a little while. James Hearn, who we mentioned kind of earlier, he kind of dropped away from the show, and then there was really kind of no one manning the ship. So, but we have Erin now, who's a... she's an intern, I think, right? So she's kind of taken it, and she's now starting to promote the social media more.
Okay.
So it's nice to have someone that's kind of also heading in that direction.
Is this just for your channel, or for
this is for the whole station?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's kind of like the producer, marketing person now.
Yeah. Totally.
Because it's a really good, it's a really good place. It's a really good, intention behind it. If it just has a little push in the right direction, it could be pretty successful, I think.
Totally.
Yeah, because it's not Yeah, it's a little disorganized, but I think it's getting more organized now. So even if we got to know how many viewers or listeners that we had.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've also thought about kind of throwing things on Facebook, like we talked about earlier, but we got kicked off once for...
There's restrictions.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of cool too, because sometimes people like to know, like, oh, what do DJs actually do? Like, what are they twisting all those knobs? Like, what does that even mean? So, like, sometimes people like to watch videos. I know I love watching DJ videos. It's just fun just to, see the crowds and that kind of thing. So, because when we do have studio guests, we have a lot of fun in there.
Mm-hmm. We do, yeah.
But yeah, we haven't got that far yet.
We're figuring it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next? Like, what would be sort of like the next dream or position that you guys want to be in? Like, are you guys going to stay at the Save on Meats radio forever, or is that gonna?
Yeah. I was actually funny you asked that question, because it's like when we first got the show, we're just like, so I guess we're just gonna do this forever, right? Like,
yeah, probably.
What happens if it goes like the radio goes away?
Well, a new home.
Then we'll probably explore. I mentioned mixed
CBC Radio 3.
Oh yes,
yes. Yeah.
Already on top of the
There you
show.
go.
Sorry to Save on Meats.
They're still there.
Yeah.
We can do 2 shows.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah, we could do 2 shows, no problem.
So I think the radio will hopefully always remain, and then more parties is something we're going
more
to
parties. That's where we want to put most of our energy into, just because that, for at least, and even again talking about like a monetary kind of thing, like that at least. We can cover expenses that way.
maybe.
Okay, but by more parties, do you mean like playing at P&E, playing a wedding, or just hosting an actual party?
Hosting an actual party. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe this could be
this
could be our launching though. Right now, we're actually launching a collective.
Oh yeah, the Good Times Collective.
We're launching Good Times Collective, which will be myself, Adam, aka Louis Esmond, and Beryl G, who also goes by the name of Luke Code. So we're kind of creating a bit of a group, and instead of Jay and Adams, it'll be Good Times Collective.
And when will that launch?
Well, we don't know about dates yet, but soon.
Yeah,
in the next few months,
we're
we're hopefully going to be throwing a party at the Redgate Society. If they don't shut down, I actually want to throw it to Redgate and anyone who's got a little bit of money.
What is Redgate?
It's an arts music space on Main Street. It's
How long has it been there for?
A while, I think.
Time.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long.
It's a bit of a...
It's like a local
I
establishment.
guess you could call it an institution. I don't know. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I mean, like many grassroots kind of artist spaces are disappearing in Vancouver.
Rent.
Due to rent and, all that kind of... Everyone knows that story in Vancouver, hopefully. But yeah, so unfortunately they're being slapped with a whole lot of rent increases and other things that they have to pay for, and they can't pay for them.
Oh, damn.
Property tax. And
so they're kind of relying on people that are passionate about giving to these types of spaces. And
Lisa needs braces, guys.
Exactly. I know. Channel plan. Yeah, so it's one of those things. So I know we've donated a little bit of money. I've donated a little bit of money. If everyone can donate a little bit of money, at least.
It saves it.
Is there a...
There is
not a Kickstarter, but a GoFundMe.
There's
something on Facebook through something like that. I don't know what platform.
Yeah, if you go to Red,
one of you send me the link. And
Yeah.
I'll post it in the description below.
Brilliant.
That'd be great.
Yeah, excellent.
And then if anybody's watching this, or if you're not watching this, go to the YouTube channel. It'll be in the video description.
Yeah.
Click on that link.
I know.
Head
Just
over and donate.
if you Google Redgate Society
Yeah.
in Vancouver, or just redgatesociety.com, they do have a donate thing on their website.
Okay.
So you can go there right now if you're listening. But we can also, I think they also have another one that I'm not familiar of, at least. But
Yeah, it's a good.
yeah.
Nice. That's legit.
But so hopefully in the next few months we'll have something going down at Redgate. Again, as long as we they stick around. Even if they don't, we'll find another venue, whether it be maybe the Emerald again.
There's a few good spots in the city. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely parties is the best kind of bang for the buck. Both like just to really satisfy the kind of
Scratch the itch.
Yeah, pretty much, because it's great on the radio. Obviously, it's fun, but you don't have a group of people that are there in person. I mean, sometimes we have studio guests that are, but it's always nice playing to a crowd, especially into space and creating that vibe and that sort of thing. That's what it's really all about.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of crowds, when you guys are doing these parties or whatever, do you find it's the same? Like, do you see the same faces in the crowds?
Yeah, we have. Well, we got a good group of friends that will turn up really well. They come to a lot of our events.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those, and so it's normally people you kind of know and friends of friends, and then kind of the randoms that you don't know that have come for very just come to have a good time.
There's definitely regulars, right? There's people that go that are super plugged in to the scene and support the scene, and again, and the scene in Vancouver I think it's growing quite a bit. But yeah, you'll always see people out there, regulars, that just go to every event no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun seeing those people regularly on the dance floor, because that's how the community kind of grows, and that's kind of, again, not to beat that drum again, but it's kind of what it's all about. It's about community. It's about people getting together and being friendly to each other and dancing and being weird and all that stuff.
How do you guys promote the events?
Just through, I guess,
social media, friends of friends.
Yeah, we did Talk to the Street with some flyers,
old
posters, and I've done that for the last party. Yeah, just kind of the normal methods, really, just telling people about it.
And word gets around, or like, do you guys sell good tickets? Like,
well, they're normally pretty well attended, aren't they? We've had
the first couple of parties we got in and around anywhere from 90 to 100 people ish. Then we did a couple of smaller parties at the like the Snug space.
Yeah.
So I mentioned about the Persephone tasting room earlier, but now they're gone, so there's just a free space there.
Okay.
So we throw little parties there with how many people show up to those?
I don't know, 40, 50 people.
Yeah. But it's a small space.
It's a small space, so it feels kind of busy.
How late does the party go to?
Well, I don't know if we should really talk about this too much, but well, they don't have the licensing to go too late.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that
we
do. Yeah. So officially, when we did our Emerald parties, we went till 2.
The parties always go later than that.
But then we kind of tried to push it a little further sometimes, just because usually people want to keep going, and
of course
they're having a good time. They don't want, no one wants fun to stop.
No, except for the city.
Yeah, they do.
No,
boring. Yeah, there's a lot of red tape,
ridiculous.
and unfortunately, that's a huge barrier to, again, the dance music scene. It's like, I mean, there's a couple of groups that have been able to kind of break some of those barriers, or at least start to kind of bend them down. But yeah, it's super hard to find spaces that'll let you go and let you do what you want to do and make noise till 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of spots that are willing to do that anymore. And it's like, again, for people that don't like the club scene, like, why do I want to go to a club where I could go to a space that can go later and kind of have a different vibe too, right? So it's...
Totally. Well, things like security for those. Like, I mean, do you guys cover those events top to bottom, or is it just you guys rent a space, you play some music?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
Depends what
like
you
drinks,
do.
like those kinds of things.
Yeah, it's same. It kind of varies.
Okay.
You can take a bit of the profits, or you can take the door and they take the bar. It kind of depends where you are, what's happening. But
yeah, totally depends which venue. Sometimes venues are really great. Like, that's why Redgate Society is awesome. If anyone's thinking about throwing an event, head down to Redgate. They provide everything. They provide security. They do the bar. It's like a collective. It's like what do they call those housing cooperative?
Okay.
So it's like a cooperative where you, based on how much the bar makes, based on how much the door makes, based on what the kind of rental expenses are, depending on how many security guards you need, everyone kind of takes a percentage, and everyone kind of walks away happy, which is kind of cool. It's unique to have a space like that. Otherwise, like, sometimes you can find like a real sketchy area that might not be legal, but then you have to provide everything, and then it's higher risk.
Problem.
Yeah.
It's just annoying. I'd rather have one place just take care of everything.
Yeah.
Let the people who know what they're doing do what they know how.
And I think we're noticing now we've logged so much DJ gear around so many places that not having to carry in all your turntables and equipment and speakers and like a whole system.
Yeah.
And people get robbed too.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, usually at like shows or concerts, mainly guitars.
Yeah.
They'll get taken.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, especially, it's nice to show up somewhere where it's USB stick, some vinyl records. Whereas if you have to lug the turntables, lug the speakers, return the speakers the next day when you're hungover,
like
probably
early in the morning.
Yeah. Not ideal, but Yeah, no, that's the best time whenever we've thrown events. It's always like, let's do that again immediately.
Yeah, it's a good buzz for sure. Yeah.
So the next event is when?
A couple of months hopefully. We'll lock down a date.
After that or before that?
We're not sure yet. We might do a little one at the Snug. We'll see. We're gonna see what we can book at venues. And
generally that Snug space generally closes a little earlier, so it's a bit of a disadvantage. If it closes at midnight, it's like, well, it's nice, but it's nice to go a little later. And
a couple of months coming up on the radio show.
I don't think so. No, I think we're going to keep doing our thing because we're kind of selfish, I guess.
Yeah.
If you had a dream guest that could come play on your show, any DJ.
Oh wow.
Who would it be?
Oof, that's a big question.
And why?
I feel like...
And neither of you could pick the same DJ.
Well, I'll go first then.
Okay,
just in case, because I got a really good one. I feel like so many people you'd like to invite musically, but also as a character. I think for me, it would probably be Moody Man.
Yeah.
I think to have Moody Man, you should check him out. He's a seriously cool chap. He's a Detroit legend, but he just has so much presence, and he's just really interesting and cool. So I think just to spend 2 hours with him would be that'd be my pick. Beat that, Jake.
Oh man, it's not good to follow. But when you initially asked that question, just someone immediately came to mind. So I'll just answer that person.
Yeah.
Not as original, because also from Detroit, but Ash Lauren.
Oh really?
I've been listening to her a lot lately,
right.
and she's top of my head, have her on the show.
Okay, yeah.
And she's kind of up and coming in a sense. We saw her last year in Detroit. She throws a party called Underground in Black.
Okay.
And she just plays great soulful music. Gets down and throws some hard techno in there too. And
yeah, good.
But, I mean,
good
from Moody Man, you can't really.
Nice. So those are two DJs that people who are listening to should at least check out.
100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
You guys should, 2 hours, 3 hours, you guys got a hefty show.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of time to play.
Yeah.
You guys should just bring in every now and then a guest.
Yeah.
Call it the Culture Corner.
Yeah.
And they get 15, 20-minute spot halfway into your set.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, we've had that idea since the beginning.
We're bringing Danny D from the UK.
Yeah.
Doing his, I don't know, death metal, drum and bass, whatever they got now. God knows what they're mixing these days. And then, have him play his 20 minutes. Then you're not out, but it's 20 minutes.
It's 20 minutes,
And, pick a DJ who's coming in town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See who's coming in concerts.
Yeah.
Dude, I should manage all of your radio.
Sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, this
interview is going very well for me.
Yeah. A lot of
I'm throwing a lot of ideas are just shooting in my head right now.
Because I know it's not really an excuse, but at the end of the day, sometimes the reason behind why we're not pursuing some of these avenues is just because we're just busy
it's
and
just, fun.
Yeah,
it's for fun.
Totally.
For me, I think of everything, even if it's for fun. This is just for fun.
Yeah.
But I always have a business mentality of
for sure,
how can I win this?
Mm-hmm. In all honesty, what we really wanted to do at the beginning, and again, it's just come to a matter of we want to play the full 2 hours and be selfish, but there's just so much local talent that we'd like to have on the show.
Yeah, that too.
It's then those people are just a Facebook message away, really.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned it to a couple of local DJs as well, but we just haven't quite extended the official invite just because. Yeah,
Maybe we should.
Maybe we should.
You gotta try it once and see if it works.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. There's not a doubt. I think that if it'll work or not, but it's one of those things that's. Yeah, it's like, you know what? I just want to play the full 2 hours.
Yeah, and I think something for me, anyways, we've been through this is just kind of imagining what you want to do in the future tends to work pretty well. We just think, it'd be sweet to do this, and then you kind of work a little bit. I don't know, boom, it happens. We're doing parties together, and you DJ in front of a room full of people, and having a good time. That's wicked. And you kind of think of the next step, and then you get there, and then you think of the next step, and you get the next, and then it just kind of.
100%. I mean, you asked earlier, when did you start? And I remember buying my little shitty Newmark controller. Yeah. And I remember making really shitty mixes and just being like, you know what? Once I play to a crowd that appreciates this music, it could be a club, it can be a party, it can be whatever. Then that's it. Then they'll be satisfied. Yeah. And I did that, and we did that, and then it's like, okay, on to the next. Okay, now I want to throw my own party. And it's like, okay, well, did that, and then on to the next. And then, so, yeah, I mean, it's kind of gradually progressed. First podcast.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's... Yeah, we'll grow it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's not like Joe Rogan or anything.
Well, I mean, baby steps, man. I mean, baby steps.
Definitely. So we're both growing right now.
Yeah.
That's what I like. It's awesome. But here's the thing. You guys do everything together when it comes to this now, right?
Yeah.
So independently, do you guys stand alone in any way, like with DJing, or is it a collective always?
Yeah, no, not always. No, I think we've definitely DJ'd on our own a lot.
Yeah,
different events and parties. We definitely do our own thing and then come together for our house stuff.
Totally. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like I was saying. We both kind of started on our own.
Yeah,
and then through just different opportunities, then came together. And again, it's one of those things. I think for me, like I don't make a lot of time to play.
Yeah.
Unless it's the radio show. So I don't I used to have my own independent SoundCloud, which I don't really do anymore because unless it's sometimes if one of us can't make it, we'll do a solo episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, unless it's been mainly together.
I think as well when you go through it, playing on your own is wicked, but when you play with someone else, it just kicks it up another level of fun. Like it's just interesting. You never know where you're going to end up.
Definitely.
They're going to play something. You're like, what the fuck is this? Never heard it. I've got nothing to go with this. So it's it makes it more challenging that way.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. You're just hanging out with your buddies playing records.
100%.
So that's kind of how it.
Yeah, I know it's definitely elevated my level playing with Adam, and now we're even actually. We mentioned Barrel G earlier. He's going to be joining.
Yeah.
Playing with Adam's brother as well. He's
so that's another record collection. Another person's ideas and direction.
It changes your perspective and it makes you kind of adapt. I mean, I still love playing on my own, and that's something that's kind of cool about our parties is that. I mean, our radio show is always 2 and 2 and back to back, but in our parties we'll go maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and then switch. Half hour, 45 minutes, and then switch, and then play back to back or something like that. And that's kind of the fun. Is you can always play independently and then back to back as well. So that's what I like.
Just see how the night goes. It's organic, really. Yeah. If someone's playing well, just let them keep going.
If there was a DJ battle, which one of you would win?
Adam, for sure. I'm not even gonna play that game. He just has such a wide.
Do you agree with this?
Encyclopedia.
I'm not going to argue against it.
I mean, it depends, though. I think it really depends. I suppose you didn't really explain the parameters of the competition.
Well, the DJ battle. 2 of you have a booth. You go. Who's going to win? Who's going to draw the crowd?
That's
a
difficult
one.
If I'm talking about just music knowledge and just breadth of selections, Adam would win.
Okay.
If we're talking about skill, DJ. Just kidding.
You're kind of giving me a gray area answer here.
Yeah, well, it's all subjective, I guess, isn't it? Right?
Totally.
Adam, tell me how it is. Is it you or is it Jay here?
I'm gonna agree with Jay. Yeah, I'd say it's me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, like Jay says, we both play our own style of stuff, and it just happens to work well together when they're combined.
Yeah.
So it's all about the person on the other end, right?
Yeah.
It's all unique.
Because kind of getting back to your original question, like the independent thing. If Adam plays, often a lot of soulful stuff, and then if you leave me on my own, I might get kind of weird and go on more the techie side of things, which often happens.
Yeah.
But again, we kind of pull each other back in to it's a kind of that's the thing. It's it's kind of different. Let's say than scratch DJing, where there's actually there's competitions, right, of scratch DJs. Whereas in kind of the dance music realm, I mean, obviously there's mixing ability, there's song selection, there's also, but it's never really been about
Yeah, you can break it down on so many levels, and there's people obviously better at certain stuff, but really, I guess it goes back to the very start, doesn't it? If people are dancing and what they like, is that kind of it? I guess.
That's how you know. Yeah. I guess if you're to do a one-on-one, who clears the dance floor first? Then I don't know.
I think I could probably clear it quicker than you. I've got some really obscure weird stuff.
We can find out in the next house party that is happening at where?
Redgate Society.
Hopefully.
That's right. So if you want to find out which
Redgate.
of these two is the top DJ,
Yeah,
just show up there.
Yeah.
Look at the dance floor.
You be the judge.
See who it is.
Vote with your feet.
That's exactly what were your feet.
Any final words before we wrap this up?
Maybe the only thing I would say is just to tune into Our House. You know,
Yeah.
every second Wednesday, 6 to
Our
8
House
p.m.
Radio. But wait, isn't it Save On?
So our show is called Our House,
Yeah,
and it's on Save On Radio.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And it's saveonradio.com/ourhouse, or is it just ourhouseradio.com?
So there's two different ways. You can just go to saveonradio.com and then go through the shows. You'll find our thing there. We're called Our House. Or you can go, /Our House will take us to the direct page. But the website right now is under construction.
Okay.
Probably the best way to listen to our shows right now is if you want to listen again on Mixcloud. It's on Mixcloud. It's mixcloud.com, Our House
Radio
_radio show.
Okay.
Or just search it.
Cool.
Yeah, and Instagram. Well, we might as well throw out all the social medias.
Yeah. Also, all of this stuff.
Oh, great.
Labeled,
Okay,
but
it's
yeah,
fine.
say.
So on Instagram, it's forget all the things. Our House _radio show.
Yep.
And then on Facebook, it's Our House Radio Show 604. Yeah, that's about it, really.
Two places.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. As for myself, you can obviously catch me on my personal YouTube channel. We did also just launch the No Fun City podcast YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to that. I'll be posting highlights as well as episodes on that channel. But if you don't care and you want to see my personal stuff on YouTube, you could stick to my own channel. Other than that, we are on Spotify, iTunes, Google, all that as mentioned before, and Anchor FM. So please follow us there and be sure to hit us up with a review. Next time on the No Fun City Podcast, episode 12, we will have Mayumi Yoshida, who is the crown princess from an awesome TV show called The Man in the High Castle. So we look forward to that one. We will catch you on the next episode of the No Fun City Podcast. Peace out.
Thanks, Mahyar.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, thank you too. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Peace.
Sweet.
I don't know how long that was.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Today's episode of the No Fun City Podcast is brought to you by Romp Supply. Check them out at rompsupply.com and be sure to hit subscribe for your chance to win an awesome prize pack.